Welcome to Channel IMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested in migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side, so once all the updates and news, you'll be the first one getting all the insight. Now we are about to cross for the new year, so I would like to say Happy New Year for 2025 for everyone and all the viewers who have supported us and the channel throughout these years. Now today's video we would like to discuss a topic that I have received some queries or emails from the fans in regards whether they should really choose to skill migrate or employer sponsor. Now, for a straight answer, you should really pick two. So go to pathway the best. Why do I advise that? No, because you never know. First of all, skill migration required to be invited. As you know, the immigration system for Australia is by invitation base. Well, now what does that mean? That means even if you have your documentation of all your background and all the supporting documents and you throw into an EOI expression of interest, if you don't get invitation or get invited, you never get a visa anyway. But employer sponsor, it does not require invitation though. However, you require you to actually find a job, an offer from an Australian employer, which is not a hard thing to do. So which it will be the best? Well, I think you should really be open-minded for either options. So obviously we talked about the skilled migration as a point test stream, so not just subclass 189 but also covers subclass 190 and also subclass 491. That's for the state sponsorships. Now bear in mind there may be an update for the point test tables coming up in 2025. Now also in compared to the newly updated employment sponsor visa subclass 482, now so-called the skills and demand visa. So how do you really pick this one? Because it's actually quite hard. I think we need to put it in a scenario. Now first of all, if you're an international student, you came or you plan to come to Australia and study whatever the course or profession or occupation that you sought for, and then you graduate. Obviously, then you get the temporary graduate visa, the 485 visa. Depends you're in higher education or vocational. So you got the visa. Now, what you need to do is obviously you want to get yourself prepared. And usually, when you graduate, what do? Even if you're not in Australia, you go find a job. And in a very common scenario, a lot of people might already found jobs at the last year of your courses. So what you need to establish there whilst you're holding or apply for 485 visa is that you want to aim as high as possible for the point test tables, depending on the existing system or the future system. And while you're doing that, you also need to have an open mind in regard to potentially get sponsored by your employer. Now, why do I say that? First of all, again, the beauty of the design of the invitation base for the government is obviously for the government it's less complications. So invitation based means only the invited applicants or applications will require to be examined or assessed. So it's less hassle for the government, for the immigration. But the disadvantage of the invitation based system is that if you don't get invited, and usually you get 2 years or 3 years or 485 visas, and during those years if you don't get invited, your visa runs out, expires, then bye-bye, you're gone, you're gonna go back home. So that's why I'm saying that you need to keep the options for employment sponsor open, because whilst you're waiting for being invited, obviously that's the best, because once you get invited, you don't have that relationship of obligation or responsibility actually be interconnected with the employer, because the employer will, well, what happened to the employer's business, or they don't want to offer you further jobs anymore, you lose the visa. So you don't want to get bounded by the employer. I understand that. However, you don't also want to lose the opportunity to have a visa due to not getting invited. Now, I can give you a scenario during these post-COVID period, because visa changes, the housing crisis, the invitation-based system is no longer a secure pathway. It used to be a bread and butter for skill migration. Nowadays, if you look at the track record of 2023 and 24, we cannot even predict when the state government or the federal government will actually throw in for invitation rounds. Back 5 or 6 years ago, before COVID, they timely, frequently, every month or every fortnightly, they will throw out a bunch of invitations to all the skilled migrants. If you check on 2023 and 24, and I believe for 2025 will be the same, because they wanted to still control the number of migrants, you don't even know when they're gonna invite. A lot of people waited for 2 years, no invitation. A lot of people waited, and suddenly it's almost like lotto, you know. But we cannot treat a migration profession as a lottery, because what if you don't get it? What if you don't get an invitation? Then your visa runs out. So that's what I'm saying. Employer-sponsored visa should really be a supplement and options really to be considered and ready to go anytime. So again, let's compare to the two. I think the pros and cons. Obviously, the employer sponsor, you're bounded by the employer. However, the new law comes out, and it will be much more secure, less riskier for employer sponsor visa compared to the previous structures. Now, obviously, a lot of people would like to independently migrate, so you don't get bounded by anyone. However, the cons on the skill migration nowadays is obviously the beauty of the invitation-based design, but it's also causing the problem when there is no frequent invitation rounds anymore. So that's for the skills migration, compare and versus the employment sponsor visa. In 2025, you should really have the two options, both consider. I understand if we launch two visas, then that's two costs. However, in the games of migration, as we're looking into a much crazier year of 2025, you should really have both of them consider. Anyway, should you have more question or query, more than welcome to leave comment right down below, and I see you next video. Goodbye.